Hello, everybody. I'm Erin, and welcome to our December 5th webinar with Courtney. Um, I am very glad you're with us here today. It's my pleasure to introduce Courtney. Courtney is an architect whose leadership, advocacy, and dedication to the profession have made a meaningful impact across our state. She is an active and engaged member in our section of an AIA Central New Jersey, where she has consistently championed mentorship, expanding visibility for women in practice, and her voice has been steady, generous, and grounded, and being a great example of that when we thrive, we lift each other up. It's my pleasure to have her here as both a colleague and a friend. Um, as the founder of her own practice, Courtney brings lived experience of a woman in architecture shaping her career path on her own terms. So she'll share about navigating small firm leadership, motherhood, and the evolving realities of architectural practice with with both clarity and courage, which are two characteristics she exemplifies. Today's session grows directly from that journey. She'll share insights on finding one's path, sustaining one's practice, and staying connected to networks and organizations such as the AIA in a way that help women to grow and lead and be seen. Please join me as we welcome Courtney Lowry. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Erin. Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to offer this webinar today on projects, partnerships, and parenthood in practice and designing your own path. So here's the brief description from the webinar. This 1-hour webinar will explore how a female architect can define success on her own terms. Let me just hide the view. Hold on, speaker sharing. Yep. Oh, there we go. Okay. While balancing practice, partnership, and parenthood, through my personal experience running a residential firm, I will share how I built my practice through word of mouth, local trust, and meaningful collaboration, including partnerships with other architects across state lines. Blending storytelling with practical insights, this program will highlight the importance of community, mentorship, and authenticity in sustaining a career that integrates professional and personal fulfillment. I hope you will leave inspired to cultivate supportive networks and create sustainable, values-driven practices. So hi, I'm Courtney, and I wear all the hats. I am a college graduate. I received my bachelor's in architecture from NJIT in 2005 and my master's in science and infrastructure planning in 2006. I'm a wife. I am a volunteer. I'm a member of the Woodbridge Township Historic Preservation Commission since 2009. I am a licensed New Jersey architect as of 2014. I am a residential firm owner in New Jersey. I established my firm in 2017. I am a mom. I welcomed my first daughter in 2021. I am a trustee. I accepted a trustee position with the Central New Jersey AIA in 2024. I'm still on the board today. I am a boss. I hired my first freelance contractor this year. I am a second-time mom. I welcomed my second daughter in October of 2025. Yes, she is 8 weeks old. I am a bigger boss. I immediately hired a second freelance contractor. And I am also a daughter, a sister, a friend, a gardener, a runner, a housekeeper, a cook, a schedule keeper, an avid reader, and so much more. So why am I giving this presentation today? In 2021, I was burned out. I am an overachiever and a perfectionist. I do everything myself. I have to be in full control. I work over 40 hours a week, and so on. In 2025, I would say I'm thriving. I'm healthy. I'm still an overachiever and perfectionist, but I've learned to ask for help. I have a team behind me at work. I schedule time for myself. I love my career and prioritize my family. I work less but charge more. I'll get there later. And then I value myself and I have better boundaries. I'm still working on that. So here's my story. In 2017, I found myself at a crossroads. I previously worked for four small New Jersey architecture firms, including the one I was currently employed by in New Jersey. After 4 years there, I could continue climbing the ladder in the firm to a partnership level or go out on my own. My career motivation has always been the love I have for meeting with homeowners and working together to achieve their dreams. I work creatively for clients to deliver plans that maximize space and budget. I also had a strong personal desire to establish my own hours and build a name for myself. Thankfully, my husband had a good job and maintains our health insurance. He would support my dreams. The scariest part for me was the possibility for failure, but I jumped and didn't look back. The next steps were having lunch with a previous coworker turned friend who had already gone out on his own. Within 1 week, I put $5,000 in a business bank account, applied for a business bank credit card, set up my LLC, my tax ID, my certificate of authorization, and I bought my liability insurance, my very first policy. Then I met with my current employer to discuss my ambitions and resign. This was a very emotional conversation. I loved what I did, but wanted to go in a different direction. I took a friend's advice and I wrote a letter. I handed that to my employer so that I was able to say all the things I wanted to say. And surprisingly, he would rather reduce my job hours to part-time, leaving me 2 days a week to focus on building my business than have me leave. It was a complete surprise, and I was very grateful for this buffer that I had in opening my own company. I then met with a general contractor from a long time ago after college, and he was already a good friend. I used him and the projects that he got me at this time to build my website. I also reached out to various other contractors, realtors, friends, vendors, inspectors, investors, anybody that I had contact with in the industry or outside of the industry that could help me get new work. I also created social media pages, Facebook, Instagram specifically. Within about 3 months, I was able to start working for myself full time. So going back to that contractor friend that helped me get established by pushing some different clients in my direction, he hired me to design his shore home, which he lost during Hurricane Sandy. So this was his second home. It was an existing ranch which happened to wash out into the lagoon during the hurricane. So once the site was completely cleared, he hired me to fully design this brand new 2,100 square foot home as one of my very first projects. Due to the previous experience I received with the four other firms I worked for in New Jersey, I felt very confident that I would be able to design the home. However, the pile system was slightly new to me. So this home is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home built to current FEMA standards, which maximized the lot, but also took advantage of the gorgeous lagoon views. The new house was designed on 23 piles with a 2-car garage below. So for this house, I leaned on the engineers, the framing team, which was the contractor and homeowner, and various consultants on this job, specifically in regards to the pile system. I asked tons of questions and observed construction. The contractor even took the next steps setting up a site camera and giving me full access. So any time of day throughout the entire build of this project, I could log in from home and take a look at what was going on, how they were building it. It was really a priceless experience to get to see this project every step of the way. So the first floor design incorporates an eat-in kitchen and dining area, which opens to a two-story rear family room with a covered outdoor deck. There is now a large first floor master suite facing the lagoon with 3 additional bedrooms and a kid's living room on the second floor. The children's living room also overlooks the family room with access to that big second floor deck that you see up there. I've continued to actually provide architectural services for this home to date. It has evolved with a in-ground plunge pool in the rear, outdoor kitchen, beautiful patio, and various updates throughout the interior. So I'm pleased to say that I have continued working with this client to this day, not only on his clients' projects, but also on his personal homes. So various early projects. Again, this is when I first started the firm. I did renovations on a seaside park house. This was my friend's summer house. You see on the left here, the picture of the island. He purchased this home in 2018 as a summer home for his family, but also a rental property during the off season. We did a lot of renovations on this home, specifically interior renovations. And later I designed an outdoor porch, a big first floor deck. So we kept going back and refining designs on this home. The second project in the center here is a client of a contractor who recommended me to do an addition and an interior renovation, something very straightforward, but gave a lot of impact to the homeowners. And the project on the right here is a full interior renovation for a flip. This is in Maplewood, New Jersey, for a realtor client, which turned friend from a previous job. He heard I was on my own and wanted me to do a flip project for him. So repeat clients and referrals have always been a huge source of my business. That's how I started out and to this day continue to get work. For the first house here on the left, this was a house in Wall, New Jersey. It was about a 2-year project between variance approvals. It was an existing ranch. We put a second floor on it, a wraparound porch, and a 2-car garage in the rear with a whole resort style backyard design. That house went through 2 years of approvals. And just as we were about to submit this house to the building department for permits, the homeowner's dream house went on the market. And it broke my heart, but I was also very excited for them and their family. They wound up selling the property as is and bought that second dream house. Funny enough, about 6 months to a year later, they called me for renovations to the dream house. So I've actually since been there and worked on the home. We're currently designing a pool house at the second home. And they have referred me to countless clients since working together on that house. The middle home is in Scotch Plains, New Jersey. It was designed for this client. I designed 4 investment properties over 3 years early on. Then the client had me design his own personal house, which was across the street and down the block. For himself and his wife as the house they chose to retire in, which was a gorgeous custom ranch. The house on the right here is another Maplewood home. I renovated this client's personal residence first, and then he's had me provide architecture, full renovations for multiple investment properties over the last 8 years. He typically does 1 home a year, and he's calling me back year after year to design these renovations. We have a great system going, a great contractor, and again, a repeat client. Some other sources of early work for me, I did some work with ServPro. They have various different groups all over New Jersey. The company that I specifically worked with did a lot of fire remediation and flood remediation. So we did a lot of rebuilding. That was a good source of regular work. I reached out to my local building department. They can't actually recommend you for jobs, but by name, but at the same time, a lot of people do call the local building departments looking for somebody. There aren't a lot of architects in my specific area, and therefore I do get a lot of work through the building department. I've worked with various small builders. I've reached out to realtors. Realtors are also an excellent source of work. I advertised with house.com. That has always been a good source of project inspiration. Recently, I stopped advertising with them as I've learned that Facebook and Instagram have been an excellent source of, I would say, advertising without advertising. In Facebook, I have a page. I also have a page on Instagram, and then I'm part of all the local Facebook groups. So whenever anybody asks for an architect, I'm always happy to pop my page in there. And I've gotten a lot of calls, probably more calls through Facebook and Instagram than I've gotten through House. Um, so you ask, why do clients continue to call me back one, two, three, or even more times? The big secret, which I don't think is a secret, is over delivery. It's simple. It's early on, I would always give clients way more than what they were paying for. I would do beautiful sections and have extra meetings. And to this day, I still over deliver within reason. Early on, the more I over delivered, the more projects that came in. Little bit of, I would say, you're probably saying, well, you're losing money because you're over delivering, but every time that client came back for a new project, it was a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and I was charging more for those projects and still delivering great product. I also have regular contact with all of my clients. I have a dry erase project board and I keep track of when the last time I spoke with a client was. If I haven't heard from them in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and they're bidding, I just shoot them an email or a text. It's always good to have contact with your clients. And I think having a personal relationship and being honest is super important. I'll get a little bit into that later, but the majority of my clients know I am a mom, know I work part-time, and well, right now full-time, but I am dual being a mom and also an architect, and therefore I'm giving them extra services. They know what they're getting, and it works out. So in 2019, this was 2 years after I started the firm, I attended the Women's Leadership Summit in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, with this summit, it was a fantastic time. I love WLS. I feel so motivated and inspired, and I try to attend once a year in addition to the AIA convention or smaller local conventions like the CRAN convention. I attend local female networking groups. In New Jersey, we have a group called Babes in Business. There's also a group called SOAR. They've both had fantastic events where I can meet other women who are successful and we can share ideas, whether it's common accountants or business development coaches or just hearing different experiences. I find that these events are so uplifting. I also go to my local AIA section events, both to network and see what's going on with other firms in my area. I think it's important to not only attend these events, but join the workshops that inspire you to connect with other people who have similar aspirations. You may also find mentors who are happy to share their experiences to help you grow and avoid making similar mistakes. At WLS 2019, I met Kelly Surin. You see her here. She's the principal architect at Path Place Architecture in New York. We established our firms in the same year, mine in New Jersey, hers in New York, and we're close in age. We attended so many similar workshops at that event and later even met for lunch. Kelly was one of a few follow-up emails I made sure to send when I got home. We continued to email back and forth, exchanging business tips, recommendations, and eventually project referrals since we were licensed in different states. In spring of 2020, Kelly called me in regard to a project for a college friend who resided in Princeton, New Jersey, with her husband and children. The client loved the neighborhood. It happened to be a historic district, but not a historic house. The client loved the neighborhood and wanted to renovate versus move. As you can see from the plans, on the left we have the demolition plans, on the right the proposed plans. It was an extensive renovation to finish the attic floor as the new primary suite, leaving 3 bedrooms on the second floor for the kids. The first floor was completely gutted and renovated, and the very small cellar was carefully excavated, underpinned to increase the height, and fully finished for more usable square footage. This project took about 2 years to receive all the required approvals from the Historic Preservation Commission, the Board of Adjustment, and Building Department, in addition to finding a local contractor with specialty in large alteration projects with close proximity to the neighbors. Ultimately, we went through this whole process because they did not want to knock the house down. And therefore, finding the contractor was very important. For this collaborative project, we chose to have separate contracts with the owners. I was the architect on record. I handled the board approvals in addition to the structural design of the home and compliance to New Jersey building codes. I reviewed all the drawings and documents prior to finalization. Kelly designed the layout, the interiors, and she oversaw all the construction, looping me in through shared Google files. I also made joint site visits as needed. We typically met the clients together and worked on this project much like studio. There was no competition, no arguing, and the clients were extremely happy with the outcome. As you can see, the house on the left is the before. During demolition, the whole roof came off. During construction, it was reconstructed with 3 dormers. And then after construction, as you could see from the photo on the right, it's slightly different, slightly updated, and received a lot more space for the owners. They were very happy with the project. So 2021 became my most profitable year to date, and I am a first-time mom. As you could see from, there's some numbers on the left. That is my actual project list. In 2021, I had a drop in total new projects. It was 33, but also I was completing about 30 projects from 2020, which was COVID. About 50% of the projects from 2020 were being completed in 2021. So although it says 33 projects, it's actually probably closer to 63. According to my bank account, it was my most profitable year since opening in 2017. In August of 2021, we welcomed my first daughter by adoption as a newborn with only 2 days notice. I was over the moon. I was incredibly overwhelmed with life. 1 week later, as you could see from the second photo, I was at my desk working with my newborn. And 1 month later, on the right there, I was continuing to meet with clients, get projects done, and trying to hold myself together while enjoying the new baby. At this time, my phone is mainly compromised of sleeping photos with the baby, which my husband took during these months. So, thankfully, my husband's job provided him with 10 weeks paid paternity leave immediately. I worked round the clock for the next 10 weeks to complete all my open projects and immediately stopped taking on new work for the remainder of the year. I fell behind on many deadlines. I still recall a favorite repeat client being so very happy for me, but also so upset it took triple the time to do a small renovation project at her house. Thankfully, I eventually finished it, and we actually worked together earlier this year on another project at the same home. I wound up exhausted, and burnout came on strong and fast. I wind up spending the next 3 years taking it slow, working part-time hours around my daughter's schedule and being more present, but missing my career. So 2025, I'm giving myself grace and doing things differently. Earlier this year, I decided to give a bigger focus to my business and things that excite me. I became active on the AIA Central New Jersey board, first as a trustee, then as secretary in 2025, and now as president-elect for 2026. I continue my involvement with the Historic Preservation Commission as vice chairperson and head of the education committee. My husband started a new fully remote job, which he loves. We welcomed our second daughter by adoption in October. Another complete surprise, but a blessing. Due to his new job, my husband doesn't have paternity leave this time around. Thankfully, I have learned to say yes and lean on friends and family as they have offered to step in and help us navigate our new life as a family of four. I hired a female career coach who is a trailblazer in the architecture industry earlier this year to uplevel my business. So this happened before baby. She helped me establish methods to attract my ideal clients so I could do less projects that are more profitable that I love. She also helped me establish a plan for hiring my first remote consultant to help with the workflow. With my newest addition, she helped me very quickly to hire my second consultant so I could be more present with my newborn daughter and give time to my 4-year-old. I have not stopped working. With these things in place, I am able to spend no more than 30 hours a week on work. I have 1 day off a week in addition to doing little to no work on the weekends unless it's necessary. I take on more projects I love with the clients I want to work with. A huge turning point in my career was deciding to specialize in only residential work because it makes me happy. On a personal level, I also, as you can see from the bottom here, I hired a housekeeper for a monthly deep clean so I could focus on doing fun things in the weekend with my family. And I'm working on my boundaries, my mom guilt, my work guilt, and taking some time for myself every day, even if it's only 5 minutes for scrolling or reading or getting outside for some fresh air. So the big lessons that I hope you take away from this presentation, some people don't understand how I run my firm. I work 30 to 40 at most hours a week. I take off 1 day every week. My daughter gets home from school early. I also pick her up every day for school, and I don't meet with clients on weekends or holidays. You can't expect everyone to understand, and you shouldn't feel obligated to explain, even though you probably want to. Just because someone else works 60 plus hours a week in architecture does not mean you have to have the same type of result. You need to be happy with your own version of success. It doesn't have to be traditional. Relationships are your strongest marketing tool. It's what got me started and continues to keep me going today. Work with the clients you love and connect with. Keep them happy, and they will always refer you and keep referring you or coming back for additional work. If you instantly bump heads or don't see eye to eye on the design aspirations, it's not worth the struggle. Move on, and a better job will come along. The first time you do it, it's going to be so hard. But as you continue to do it, it will be easier to take on the clients that you want to work with. I also think being honest and being personal is very important. Um, you might think this is crazy. However, when I meet with prospective clients, I tell them in the initial meeting that I'm a working mom of two young kids. I love what I do as a career, but being a mom will always be my priority. I started this when I started taking on more clients after my first child, and I haven't lost a client yet because of this. I feel that being upfront and saying, I'm a mom and I'm an architect is important. It sets the tone in our very first meeting that I will do the work, I will get your job done, but I am also a mom. Balance. Number three, balance is imperfect, and that's okay. I'm always dropping the ball on something and then catching up on the next day and so on and so forth. Some days I'm good at work and bad at being a mom or wife, or good at gardening but terrible at cooking, and we order the pizza. Once you realize there's no way you're going to do it all at once, you'll only wear one or three hats at the same time. And finally, investing in support, your mentors, your coach, your therapists, keeps your business and your mindset healthy. I see a therapist. Sometimes it's good to have a sounding board that isn't your spouse. I have a career coach. She is specific to our industry. I find this money well spent. She has helped me to morph my firm into a business that works even when I'm not working. And I think that gives me peace of mind to be able to enjoy whatever I'm doing besides work at the same time. I think she has helped me up level, refreshed my business plan. I don't think this is an investment that you need to make throughout your entire business, but every once in a while, it's a great investment to give you motivation, inspiration, tweak your business plan. And then if you get stagnant or want to shake it up again, you get involved with that coach again. I think that they are a lifelong resource. And if the first coach you're not meshing with, it's okay to find a different coach. My current career coach is different than the career coach I initially used back in 2017 when I went on my own. He was very helpful at the time, but not architecture specific. And I find that the architecture specific coaching I'm getting now has been great with making small tweaks with huge impact. I also think going to specific conferences, as I mentioned, the Women's Leadership Summit or networking events, for me, I particularly get empowered by other women. So I do like the local female networking events. They're not architects. There's hairdressers and all different types of business owners, cafe owners, cafe with the cats, cat cafe owners, all different types of business owners that it's great to get feedback and see how other people are doing it within their industry. So I highly recommend getting out and just finding that motivation and people that inspire you. It makes you want to be bigger and better. And mentoring. I have a core group of girlfriends that to this day I feel very empowered. I would be excited to hear if any of them go out on their own, but we also, the friend support, I think is very important, and being mentors to the newer generation. And also part of my why as to why I'm here today is wanting to give others the inspiration that I've gotten to do bigger things. Your dreams aren't too small, they're important, and you don't have to be stuck in your career because it's a traditional career and it's what somebody before you did. I think you can make your own way. And with that, I'd like to thank Erin and the AIA New Jersey WIA for having me give this webinar today. I would love to connect. So here's my contact information. And I guess at this point, Erin, we could take some questions, thoughts, or reflections.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Lovely job. Very, very lovely job of a obvious perfectionist. Hi, I'm back. Oh, that was wonderful. Just so wonderful. I'm just going to first say the formal thank you, and it was abundant and inspiring. And I will definitely be calling to pick your brain on I will be sending you an email to try to pick your brain because it just was really juicy with lots of good stuff. I'm going to end the recording so
Okay.
that people can feel comfortable to ask questions. And even though I don't think that anybody can unmute, um, you can put questions and we'll have a more informal chat. So